Well, instead of a individual device, here I've got a whole system to work on. This is from family members who have had this for a while and haven't used it for a while and are not sure if it works. So they said, can you check it out? I said, sure. So what we have here is a Sony GX49ES and another Sony compact disc player. Let's say CDP C69ES and a cassette deck TCK679ES and a Yamaha turntable TT300. Get the glare off that. 300U. So the amp seems to come on. I hear the relay click for the speakers. So the system doesn't have speakers that came with it, so I'll hook the bench speakers up to it. That seems to be working. I think it's going to be okay. The disc player, or the CD player, I have powered up and put a disc in there, and it does seem to work. The door opens and closes, and it's pretty dusty inside, so it'll need some cleaning up, but it seems to be functional. The cassette deck, well, it's obviously got a problem. It's squealing, so probably bad belts or something stuck in there. And the turntable, it does come on. It's just a auto return, semi-automatic. The only issue I've seen so far with this is that the lift mechanism, the Q lift right here, is sticking, so that'll need cleaning up. But the belt seems okay on it. And all this stuff seems to be from the early 90s, so it's a general time frame on it, not too old, so hopefully it doesn't need too much work. So probably start with the amp, power it up, check the power output, see what it looks like. I don't expect any issues with it, and then we'll just keep moving till we get to stuff that needs work, like the cassette deck and the turntable. Well, the CD player and the receiver seem to be working just fine. Sounds good on my little cheapo bench speakers. That's a pretty simple amplifier too. Really not too much to it. That's the radio board right there. There's the phono EQ circuit down here, and this is the main amplifier. Discrete transistors, power supply capacitors. There's the main transformer and the backup transformer. So yeah, looks like it's going to work just fine. So I guess I'll go ahead and start taking a look at the turntable and the tape player, cassette player. So I'll start with the turntable. I think I'll just let this play for maybe an hour or so, and I'll probably put the dummy loads on it and run a signal check for distortion, but it sounds pretty good to me. Alright, let's get started with this turntable. Again, this is the Yamaha Natural Sound TT300U. It is a semi-automatic. It came with a Grado cartridge. I think that says ZT, or yeah, ZT Plus. I don't know if you can see it. It looks like you can on the screen. It's got a bent stylus, so I could use a new stylus. It works. It's probably not the best sounding right now with that stylus bent like that. I have looked around and seen a new stylus for about $65. Could almost be worth replacing that with a Audio-Technica VM95 series. But I'll talk to the owners and see what they want to do. They may not even want to play records, so but we'll get this thing working. This I think the platter mat has some corrosion. I guess you can see that on there. I'll go ahead and clean that up and make it look nice and shiny again. The platter is fairly light. I mean, it's really light and pretty ringy. So it's kind of characteristic, I guess, of the end of the classical vinyl era. Some of the turntables were pretty inexpensively constructed to compete. But the tone arm looks pretty decent. It's got full adjustability on the tone arm force and weight and anti-skate setting. And another thing that's not working, as I said before, is the Q lever. It's getting stuck in the up position. So I'll take a look at that, see if I can pull that out. And we'll go ahead and take this apart, see if we can get to the spindle to lubricate that, and possibly the motor. So let's flip it over and take the bottom off, see what it looks like. Alright, got the bottom off. It's a pretty simple turntable. Pretty much all plastic too. So looks like we've got a DC motor here. Here's the power supply with the power cord going to it. This little board has the where the little wires come from, the tone arm wires come and plug into the RCA jacks. It also has the speed control circuitry on it. Right here, if you look, is where the pots are to adjust the 33 and 45 speeds. So we'll check that and see how it's doing. Pretty simple mechanism here too. There's the Q lever, and what that does is just trip this right here, this thing. And then the tone arm, if I can adjust that, you can see how it comes over and hits this and pushes it over to trip the return mechanism. It does have a little switch here, that little silence switch to silence during when the tone arm is moving around. Let's see, this right here is part of the arm lift, and it's really stiff, and there's probably some old grease there. And then on the bottom of that is what pushes up on the little arm lift, which is also very stiff. So those two things I'll have to check to see what's going on with them, why they are so stiff. Probably just need to be cleaned and relubed. And then here's the let's see how that's moving very slowly, and not at all. That should be pushing that all the way over. This is the arm lift mechanism, and it's not doing the job, so this is too gooey. So time to do some cleaning and relubing. Alright, I just took this screw out and removed some of the silicone oil, which was kind of making this thing a little too stiff. And then this little post here that pushes the tone arm up was just gummed up. I put some light oil in there, right in that spot right there, and that freed up that post. So it's working properly now. This is, let's see, is that working? Yeah, right. Pushes it over. It's a nice return rate. So looks like that part's fixed. So now we just got to do some lubrication on the motor and spindle, and this should be ready to go. Okay, there's about 3 or 4 screws that kind of hold this thing down, and this is the whole spindle mechanism. You know, it goes in upside down like that. But here's where the spindle is and what we need to get to lubricate. So let me check this out. It looks like it's almost got maybe grease on there. And we may need grease because this is upside down. Okay, well, let me think about that. See what we may want to use, but I think I'll clean up the old grease and figure out what to put in there. Okay, since this is an inverted spindle, I can't really just oil it because all the oil would just run out. It does have a little ball bearing way down there. So I got a couple lubricants I could use. That white grease or super lube. I like this super lube for most things. So I might try a little bit of that on the spindle and see how that works. Let's give that a try. Alright, looks like that super grease is working pretty well. Got the spindle back on. It's turning fairly nicely. So I may add a little bit more of the white lube here to certain spots where it had it before, and then go ahead and reassemble this. Alright, I pulled the DC motor out, and looks like the only thing you can do is just lubricate the axle right there. So I'll take some of this 3-in-1 electric motor oil and just put a drop in there just to get the top bearing lubricated. That should be good. Alright, got this all reassembled and the bottom on. I'll do a quick speed check here. And there's the 33. The outer ring is fairly stationary. So just slightly fast, but that would probably be perfect with a record on. There's 45, so that second ring is stationary. Again, just slightly fast, but probably perfect for an album or a record being played on there. So let me try putting one on and doing a second speed test, but I think that's going to be just about right. And the Q lever is working now. It's dropping and up, so nice and slowly. I'll hit the cut button, and that will return the arm and turn the platter off. Perfect. All it needs is some additional cleaning up. Gotta clean up the platter here and a little bit of grease on the top part of the chassis. Clean that off, and then maybe do a little de-scratch treatment on the dust cover. And she'll be done. And here's that stylus. I just cleaned it off with some alcohol. But you can see how that, let me get this to focus right. See how the stylus has got quite the bend to it. I cannot straighten that out, so either a new stylus is going to be required or maybe a new cartridge. We'll see what's more economical and what the owners want to do, or maybe they're not going to play records that often and this will work for them. Alright, with this playing a record, it looks like that speed is just about right. Oops, stopped it. On 33. On 45, it's pretty good too. It's like just about the right speed on both settings, so I will not do any adjustments there. I think we'll just finish the cleanup, and I'll do a tone arm adjustment, figure out what that grado is supposed to run at for weight, and set that. Alright, got the turntable all lubricated up. It's working well. So just doing some cleanup now. I think I'm going to try to get some of this oxidation off of the trim ring of the platter. So I'm going to try a little Brasso and see if that cleans it up. Okay, I looked up the tracking force on the Grado ZT Plus and it was listed as 1.5 grams. So that's what it's set at, with the anti-skate set at 1.5. The scale has it pretty accurate. So, yeah, let's play a record, see what it sounds like. Okay, here is the cassette deck, and there's the mechanism, and the belts are on it. Not looking too good though. They're looking pretty worn out here, especially this one. Whoops. Let me turn the power on. The motor's turning, but let me redo this. Strike this one. Well, I got the system apart here, and here's the mechanism. It's like a fairly nice cassette mechanism. You can see this belt right here. It's just almost turned to goo. It's very loose. It's lost all of its stretchiness. So, yeah, these are all need to be replaced. So, got a belt kit on order. Should get here in a few days, and we'll rebuild this mechanism and see if we can make the cassette deck work again. Okay, while waiting for the belts for the cassette, I thought I'd just clean up the CD player, multi-disc CD player. It's working just fine, but it's pretty dusty on the inside. So I think I'll take the top off and just do a quick check on the inside, clean it up, and get it ready to go. Alright, this is, as before, working fairly well. As I pulled this out, I discovered that a lot of this platter and disc holding mechanism has that old kind of soft touch plastic, which over the years tends to get real sticky and gooey. So I don't want to do too much with this because it is working and it's not too bad yet. So we'll just have to go ahead and use this and see how it works. Hopefully it'll continue to work for quite a while. I remember the controls in my daughter's 1999 Volkswagen was coated with this stuff, and they just turned gooey. All the dashboard controls. It's a good idea, but it just doesn't hold up. So this is something from the 90s. So I think we'll just go ahead and use it while it is still working, and worry about it later if it doesn't. So, but everything's 100% functional. It plays CDs, it changes, it does everything it's supposed to do. So, and even the belt is in good shape. I think I'm just going to put the top back on this and call it good. Okay, I'm back on the cassette player. I pulled the mechanism out, the drive. Here it is out on the bench. And there's the 3 belts that go in it. So all I gotta do is figure out how to take this apart and get those belts installed, and this should be back to working again. So let's get into that. Probably have to take the this mechanism off the back here. Let's take a look at it. Okay, at least a couple of these belts have really stretched out. Maybe all of them. This one may have been okay. But this little one is buried right down in here. I didn't record how I got into that because it was pretty fiddly. But I had to separate this enough to get the belt around the little wheels and everything, and then get it back together. The main drive belts are a little bit easier. They just go on the spindles, so I'll lubricate the spindles, put them back in, and put those belts on. Alright, looks like I got all the belts back, or new belts on. And there's no leftover screws, so I think it's all back together properly. Let's try putting it back in the chassis, see if it works. Alright, the drive is back installed. All the cables are hooked up properly, I'm thinking. So it's plugged in. Let's see what happens when we hit the power. Okay, not getting any squealing noise like before. And capstans are moving. Let's see. Okay, and it opens and closes, I think. Yeah. Looks good. Let's finish putting it together here and see if it'll play a tape. Okay, here we go. Let's turn her on. Open the door. Don't know what's on this, but let's see if we'll play it.
You're doing? We're gonna visit your pads. I'm not going out there.
Well, you get the stereo output, so looks like this is working well. I'll go ahead and put the top back on it and play a couple tapes through it, make sure it's going to be reliable, and then this one will be ready to go. Alright, cassette player is playing very well with its new belts. So that was the last piece of the puzzle to get it working. So again, to recap, the cassette player needed new belts. The CD player, just a little cleanup. Same thing on the receiver. And the turntable needed kind of a service, lubrication, degumming of some of the mechanisms. So everything is working very well right now. I'm just using some of my speakers. It didn't come with a set of speakers, which I still need to get a hold of. There may need some work too, but I think I will end the video at this point. This is the quick restoration of 1992 approximately stereo system, mostly Sony components with a Yamaha turntable. I think sounds great. Ready to go back to its owner. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.